Cool. All right, so today's probably going to be like the most loose plan ever, but it's because what I want to do is I want to craft this for what you need and not just something to hear and to learn. And so what we're going to do is we'll do introductions, then I'll explain kind of my idea for how this is going to work, what you're going to do during the weeks that I'm not going to be on, but you guys can still get on. So we'll talk about that. And then we're going to go, you guys are basically going to map out to me. Here's my goal. Here's my desire. Here's what I want to make happen. And I'm going to take some detailed notes so that I can focus on that for all of you guys. And yeah, so that's where we're going to start. So Brittany, I'm gonna start with you. We'll go Brittany, and then we'll go Jayla, and then we'll go Marina. I just want y'all to introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your photography side of your business, and then how long you've been doing it. Are you a mom? Are you a wife? Blah, blah, blah. All those good things. So Brittany, you're first.
Okay, you guys are gonna be able to follow really well after me because I'm so bad at introducing myself. So, I am working in my bed. This is my office right here.
Love it.
I am a mom. I have 3 kids. I am a family photographer and newborn photographer in the Dallas area, and I have been, I picked up a camera when I lived in Hawaii in 2009, and I immediately started photographing other military families. Um, and then it just kind of grew. And once my kids were born, it grew more. And I got really, like I really started defining who I was as a photographer with each birth of each of my kids. What else did you want us to tell you?
Honestly, like that's good. That works
Okay.
too. We know where you're from, which is Dallas. We know you're a family photographer. You're a mom to 3, and you've been in this for quite a while, which is good. So I love it. So that's good. Okay, Jayla, your turn.
All right. So I am up in Montana, but I recently decided I did a retreat down in Sedona with Naomi Hopkins and Kate Boggs, and I fell in love with Arizona. I took my family down there. So I'm a mom of 2. I have a 15-year-old daughter and an 8-year-old son. And we took the whole family down there and we hired a photographer, did our family pictures there. And we all just really loved Arizona and the desert. And I've pretty much always been in Montana. So I decided I'm going to expand and I'm going to start flying down there multiple times a year and offering sessions down there, here. And then our plan is to hopefully relocate there within the next 2 years. Our daughter has been here since kindergarten. So we just feel like it would be selfish to pull her out of high school to move down. So we're just going to make a plan to do it as soon as she's done. And I'm trying to bribe her into going to college down there because I don't want her to leave me. But yeah, so I'll be expanding, doing both things. I have my first trip back there planned in March and have 1 session booked for down there. And then I'm bringing my daughter down to do like some modeling sessions while we're there. And then I do motherhood, family, maternity, and newborn. So this is the first year I've niched down. Before I did everything. Last year we did 14 weddings and it was miserable pretty much. And so after that, I decided I'm done with weddings. We have 4 on the book for this year. So we're going to serve them. And then after that, we're completely done. I love the babies. I love the mamas, the daddy snuggles. Those are the things that make my heart sing. So
Yay, I
yeah.
love that. So good. And it's exciting with Arizona. I have a feeling I've been there a couple of times and I love it. And I have a feeling if I ever stayed too long, I would probably never leave. So yeah, it's just one of those places. And thankfully we have family that lives there. So we just get to skip right on down whenever we want to. So that works out great. Perfect. Okay, Marina, are you able to pop on even if you don't have your video on to introduce yourself? Yeah.
Yes, I'm gonna turn it on for a little bit. I'm still like chasing my kid around. So I am in Texas, like at the very tippy tip, bordering New Mexico and Mexico. I am focusing on family, and I've been doing this like full time since 2017, and Yeah, I don't remember what else I was supposed to say.
No, you're good. One thing I'll chime in and I'll say about you is I have seen a ton of growth. Like, you know what I mean? Like you were like, yeah, I'm doing this. And then all of a sudden you're like, I'm doing this. And it's just been so fun to watch you kind of just come into your own and embrace like what you do in your business. And yeah, your business is definitely up leveled, I would say. So,
It's definitely changed, which is, it's good to be able to see the change. And it makes me happy to see you say that too, that you can see it, because it's definitely taken a lot of work and blood, sweat, and tears.
oh yeah, for sure. Yes. Okay. Oh, Amanda is with us. Hold on. Perfect timing. There we go. Okay. I'm going to let her connect to audio. There she is. Okay. Hey, Amanda. So we just got done introducing ourselves and now it's your turn. So I just told them, tell us a little bit about you, where you're located, and then what you do with your photography business, what's your niche, that kind of thing. So
I'm Amanda. I'm from Pensacola, Florida, right outside of Pensacola, Florida. I pretty much only do newborns. I do a little bit of maternity, a little bit of milestone, but mainly newborns.
love it. Okay. Wife, mom, tell us all the things.
Oh, yeah, I'm a wife. 24 years, same man. We have 7 children. I have a grandchild that's 2. They all live in the same house with me, so it's really noisy, and I'm in my car, so I can do this.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I just have to say, I love your commitment. I love when you introduce yourself and everybody in the room is like, wait, did she say 7? She said 7, right? I love that because it helps those of us with like 3 or less kids be like, yeah, we need to step it up. If Amanda can do it, we can do it. So I love it. I love it so much. Okay. So now that you're, all 4 of you are here, I did tell 2 of you earlier. So Aubrey joined us. But her son, the infant, the baby, is having to have heart surgery. And so she's not in the right mindset and can't commit to this with us. And so she is not going to be on these calls. She is welcome to at any point. She could be on the next one. I don't know. I went ahead and extended that invitation for her for the next 4 weeks. And then we're going to reevaluate and go from there. So in case y'all are like, I know there was more, that's why she's not here. So be praying for her little boy. I know they're going through a lot. So anywho, okay. So now that we've done that, I want to just kind of outline and tell you guys like what my vision for this is. So my vision is to show up and be what you need and give you the feedback you are looking for and not make this another sit back and here's a training and then just take what you want and leave the rest. Like that's not what I want this to be. I want every hour we spend together to really be working and refining and setting you guys up for success. Now, there are topics. There will be trainings every now and then that I'll do. So maybe I'll spend 30 minutes going through something specific with everybody. Like, here's how to actually like create a digital course. Here's my tips. Here's what's worked for me, those kinds of things. But the first, probably this whole month of February, we're really just going to be like no syllabus, just chatting because that's going to help me understand what you guys need. And then March and April will be nothing but implementation and like getting down to business. So which we're going to get down to business today. So that's kind of my idea. Now, we are meeting on a bi-weekly basis. Okay. So every other Friday, this is where we will meet. It'll be just like this every single time. During the in-between weeks. So y'all are a much smaller group than I had anticipated, but I'm actually kind of relieved and excited about that because I just like less people to manage. And so this is great. So what I would love for you guys to do is when we get off this call, I would love for you guys to either start a thread in our little Facebook group. It's just ours. No one else is ever coming into it. And just ask, do you want to partner up? Do you all 4 want to meet up? Do you guys want to on the every other Friday or Monday? I don't care, whatever. I want you guys to find a set time where it is either an hour where you guys are just going to show up together and you guys are going to give each other feedback, or you're like, hey, we're going to set aside this hour every other week to do the homework, to do what we need to do. And then we don't even have to talk. We just like know that everybody's working on their stuff. You guys decide what you need, but my goal is that you will use that time as an implementation hour and to get your peer feedback. That way, on the other Fridays when we're meeting, you guys can get direct feedback from me, and then we don't have to waste a whole lot of time. So that's the goal there. And again, at least get each other's phone numbers or something to where you guys can just text each other throughout the week. I think that's really going to help push you guys. So that is how this is going to work. So what I want to do for the rest of the hour today is I want to hear from each of you. Hey, here is my vision. Here's what I want to create. And then this is going to help me start, like, we're basically going to create your roadmap. Okay. You want to build or you want to offer mentorships. Awesome. And then we can kind of dig into that a little bit. So we'll go right back in the order that we went first. I just want to hear, I'm in this group. I signed up, and here's what I'm hoping to have, or here's what I'm hoping to carry out by the end of this. Okay. So Brittany, let's have it. I'm going to be typing a lot while you're talking. So.
Okay, so I'm in this group. I signed up. I actually did a one-on-one call with Brooke back in the fall or something like that. And she kind of got me started. She made me pick a niche for mentoring, which was mind-blowing because, Brooke always loves making you pick niches. And honestly, it was a huge game changer. So I know that I want to help other family and newborn photographers. I know that much. Coming up, I have a newborn workshop with a branding photographer, and we are doing lifestyle newborn photos and, teaching newer photographers how I go through a session in someone's home, and then they're getting a branding session with Amanda, among some other things that are going on to the workshop. So I know I have that. Okay. I started offering the one-on-one, like a strategy call. So it's just like a one-time thing. And then we chat for a couple weeks afterwards while they implement the things that we talked about. I also plan and hope to create an online lifestyle newborn course, which is a big thing that I want to get out of this, is that, like, I have a videographer who's going to come to a session with me. It's just, I don't know how to implement it, like Kajabi, like break it up into, I have no idea. Like, I'm completely lost. I just know that I need to create an outline, and we're going to video it in April. So doing that. And then I would hope to I really want to build passive income through this. Like, I want to do some things where I can have passive income, but I really do enjoy talking to other photographers one-on-one and helping them kind of find their path, like help them find their niche and their ideal client and kind of their unique voice. So I do want to keep doing that. And I don't know where I want to take that part of it, but I'm hoping that while we go through this journey here, that I can kind of formulate a better plan for where I want to take that part of it.
I love it. Okay. Yes. I took lots of notes. I even wrote in, here's a topic we're going to cover. Here's something that you're going to struggle with. And I know you'll get here eventually. Here's a future roadblock, that kind of thing. So okay. I'm not going to give you any feedback right this second, but we are going to in a minute. So let's move on to Jayla. Tell me all the things.
Okay. You did amazing, by the way, because you have such a vision already. And I'm just like still brainstorming and trying to figure out where I'm going to go. So
okay, kudos to you. I want to say that's okay. Brittany is in a different season where she's already stepped into the education side. She's trying to refine it, scale it, make it better. And this is also open to anybody who's like, yeah, I thought about that, and I haven't even put one foot in front of the other. So I just want to say that's okay. All right.
All right. So my kind of like roadmap-ish of what I would want to do is just start offering some smaller one-on-ones for, photographers they can be in Montana. They can be outside of Montana. It doesn't matter to me. Probably maternity family based is what I'm thinking. I don't think I'm ready to mentor on newborns. I'm super confident in my newborns, but I'm also like a hot mess express. And I go by the baby's flow and we get it done kind of thing. So I don't have like a really set workflow where I feel like I could train somebody like this is how you do it every time.
Okay.
So family, maternity, and then my long-term goal would to really be like hosting shootouts and workshops and things like that. I would love to travel. My husband would like to jump on board and basically be the assistant. So he gets to do all the cooking and the behind the scenes for all of us girls. And we're just teaching them, how to shoot. My big thing is client experience. So working with photographers to really have an awesome client experience. And that was part of the reason I gave up weddings, because I started to really feel that slipping last year, because I did not have the time to devote into the sessions that really meant the most to me. And that killed me. I hated it. I felt like I was letting everybody down and I just didn't like it. So client experience, client closet, teaching photographers just kind of like how to level up and do those things and make yourself stand apart in the industry is where I would like my mentorship to focus, and then work into the workshop realm.
Perfect. Oh, I love this so much. Okay, Amanda, you are up.
Okay. I guess I don't really have a clear anything. I have ideas that I've had for years, but I've always stepped back because you have this idea in your head that you're not like this big top photographer. So who's going to pay to learn from me, but I have heard just from hanging out in photography groups, a lot of people have trouble with their macros as far as newborns go. It seems to be a big struggle point, something I've always been really good at. So I've thought about doing, a newborn macro. I'd really like to kind of stick with online stuff right now.
Okay.
If it worked into in person later, that would be okay. But just because I still have kind of young kids, some of them are young at least. And adding video to your newborn sessions, that seems to be, I'm like the only person in my area that does that right now.
Okay.
And then maybe I've had this idea in my head for a really long time about doing an actual like handful of sessions so that people can, I do baby led newborns, so it's not superposed. But I have an idea in my head of having a videographer come and record me, but also having like a GoPro where people can actually see your angles, because I think that's hard when you're watching a newborn workshop online and you're seeing them take photos. You can't really see like what they're seeing. And I don't even know if that's even possible, but it's just been an idea I've had for 3 or 4 years.
I love it. I love all those. Anything else?
Not really.
Okay, I love it. That's great. All right. Marina.
So I'm kind of on the same boat as Brittany, I think. Oh my gosh, no, Jayla.
Yes, I was going to say, I think you're going to say Jayla. Yes.
I'm going to just
Yeah.
say kudos to all of you for saying my name right, because nobody ever says it right.
Oh, girl, that's easy. Jayla, I can see
That's
it.
what I know.
Yeah.
Whenever it's butchered, I'm like, really?
So yeah, I've always known that I wanted to teach and be that person that I needed when I first started out and I couldn't find. I'm still not 100% sure how that's going to look. I feel like I do better one-on-one. So I'm thinking more like that, one-on-one mentorships and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm kind of trying to figure out how I can best do that, especially in the season of life that I'm in. My son is not even 2, and I feel like this was the best time to like start figuring out a roadmap to what is that going to look like, so that in the next 5 years I can kind of either start that or be in that. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
I love it. Cool. Okay. Well, everybody has generated questions and topics and all these things. So I love it. So what I love most though, is that there's 1,000 ways you can go about this, right? Like the things you guys could have said are limitless. And so I love that everybody has a different angle. Some of us love the online. Some of us are like, no, it's in person. Like, I can't wait to be able to help people and touch their camera and things like that. And so I thought that was kind of cool. And then I think it's okay to also be like unsure of, I don't really know. Here's a couple ideas. Here's kind of the way that I think I want to go, but I don't really know. So, and as I promise you over the next, whatever this is, 2-3 months long, you guys will refine things over and over. And I literally do it in my own business right now. So so this is really cool. So one of the things that I am hoping to do, I actually wrote this down yesterday. I was looking for the notebook that I wrote it in, but I don't think I have it. So I revisited some dreams of mine as I was trying to figure out where I wanted to focus. And one of the things that I want to do, and I really blame the pandemic for holding me back on this, because I was so ready in 2020 to do this. And now it's like, oh, well, hello, we're in 2022. So where did the last 2 years go? Right. But I wanted to host, I have a huge dream to host a photography summit. Like, I want y'all to think like Academy Awards for photographers. So not only do you get like honored, you actually get awards you take home. Like, there's nothing that exists in our industry for us. Nothing. You have the CMA awards, you have MTV, you have, you know, your music, your TV, your movie. But what about the artists behind all of that? You know, like nothing exists. And so anyway, that's God's big plan for me. That's probably a 10-year plan, but one day it's going to exist and we're going to be there. So that's like big picture. But the other thing is in-person stuff. I want to host workshops too. And in my workshops, and I promise there's a reason that I'm explaining all this with y'all, but the type of like 3-day workshop I see is not so much session related as it is getting a group of women like this and doing some business dreaming and planning and strategy and marketing, the things no one else is like helping you go deep in. That's what I want to do. And then throw in one fun session to get our creative outlet. So that's like one of the things that I want to create too. So all that to say, I'll be creating stuff right alongside of you. And maybe you guys will be my accountability to actually do it this year. So anyway, all that being said, that's kind of what I'm looking forward to doing. That's why I've left like white space in my own calendar. So that's one thing. So all that to say, I want to encourage you, leave white space in your calendar this year, because if you open up your calendar and you just start stacking in things, and we're going to be talking about time management too, because a lot of you are like one-on-one. Well, one-on-one equals a lot of your time, and that's okay. But we also have to price yourself accordingly. You have to be able to leave white space in your calendar or you're going to miss out on opportunities. So that's before you guys get head down and you're like, oh, I can make $50,000 offering mentorships this year. So before you like get there, and then before you know it, you have like no vacation time, no time off, and you don't even have a day where you could call in sick for the education side. You know what I mean? Like, let's prevent that from ever being the case. So that's the first thing that I wanted to say, was leave white space in your calendar. Okay. So I want to dive into some of the notes that I have. And I just want you guys to, if you don't have anything to take notes with, grab something real quick, because what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do some questions off the top of my head. What I want you to be thinking about. And then the next time we hop on this call, we're going to go deep with this stuff. So like today is, here's where my brain is, here's some ideas. And then the next time we meet, we're going to start piecing it together. Okay. We're going to start getting our to-do list. And then, like I said, the next 2 months, March and April, complete implementation. So, okay. So we're going to start up at the top with Brittany. And so, so I'm going to start with this. So the first thing that you said was, or not the first thing, but one of the things that you said was you wanted to continue to offer one-on-one strategy calls with photographers. So basically an online mentorship, right? So that's what you're doing. You're having these strategy calls. And then I want to ask you, and again, just, you don't have to answer any of these right now. Just let me get all my questions out and then you can give me your feedback. The first question is, what is the promise at the end of the strategy call? What is the main thing you guys are talking on in that strategy call? So that way, and I know we worked a little bit on this, but it's been months. And so I want to see what happens since then. But I really want, if a photographer came to you and said, okay, so we're going to meet for an hour, but what am I going to walk away with after that hour? Is there any like guarantee? Is there one specific topic we're talking about? That kind of thing. Cause that's really important to people. They're asking, what's in it for me? Okay. So that's the first thing. You're good. And you don't have to have the answers right now. Number two is your main thing. And this is kind of where I feel pulled. You can definitely correct me if I'm wrong. I think the main thing that we are going to accomplish over the next 3 months for you is bringing the online lifestyle family newborn course to life. Like that we can do in 3 months flat. Like by April, when that videographer comes, you're going to already have all the other things that you need. So give me a thumbs up if I'm on the right track. Is that one? Okay, perfect. All right, love it. Okay, let me see if there's any other questions right off the top of my head that we had or that I had for you. I know so you said that you guys are carrying out a newborn workshop. Is this in person? Is that workshop in person?
Yeah, it's in person.
Perfect. And when is it?
April 23rd.
Do you guys have all of your attendees signed up already? Like you're
No,
good to go?
we just opened it up.
You just opened it up. Okay, so you guys are in basically launch mode right now for it.
Mhm.
Okay, do you guys have a plan in place to get people to do it?
Yes. So what we've done so far is we had a wait list, like we started talking about it, we shared on social media, blah, blah, blah. And so we got a wait list, I would call it hot leads because they know what day it is, how much it costs,
Okay.
and what they're doing. And so we had we want max 8 people, and we have 14 on the wait list. And we opened it up a couple days ago, but no one signed up yet, though I have talked to a couple people. So I'm trying not to panic yet. I mean, we have several months. One person's waiting for payday. One person's waiting for her business card to come in and just kind of things like that. So I know it's a little bit of a bigger investment for people. And so they haven't signed up yet, but they signed up for the wait list knowing all the important details. And so I feel that most of them, or not all of them, but a good amount of them will be interested enough to sign up when they have their ducks in a row, I guess.
Okay, so I'm going to give you some feedback on that
Yeah.
because yes, so January and February, as we all know, we're all a little bit hesitant. Yes, like
Mhm.
even we're like, okay, for instance, I got back on the budget and I'm like, okay, do we really need that? Nope. Like my husband was like, let's go get some burgers from wherever it was the other day. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm good. Thank you. Because that's going to be like $40 I regret tomorrow. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, we're very conscious about our
Mhm.
spending in January and February. And it's normal, especially for us, because a lot of the time it's the slower season. Like it is.
Yeah.
Like nobody is out in January and February booking as much as they are 6
Mhm.
months down the road. They just aren't, unless you're a newborn photographer.
Yeah, I should say. But also something else I forgot to mention is right now we have the early bird pricing, and that's going to the wait list through the end of February. And so if they don't book before March 1st, it goes up in price as well. So to kind of encourage people to book earlier and not wait until the last minute. So that was our thought behind that.
Yeah. Okay. So the other part of that I was going to say, so first of all, it was just like a lot of people are a little hesitant. And what I was going to say was when you give them time, like when you
Mhm.
say you have until, and it's like weeks that they get to
Yeah.
sit on this, right? Then
Right.
they're going to wait till the last minute.
Mhm.
And I'm usually not a procrastinator, but I've done this. And so I'm
Yeah.
speaking from experience. So that's the first thing. And then the other thing was, we're also in the season of we're turning in our taxes. We're freaking out over what we did. We're freaking out over, like, I am sick on how much money I spent last year thinking I was investing in quality, like masterminds and things like that. And like, I could throw up by how unhelpful it was. Like, I'm just so mad. And so I'm definitely being more conscious about where my money is going this year. Because I'm like, that could have been profit. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
and so everybody's just freaking out. I already turned in my taxes. I'm the overachiever. I'm first in line. I'm like, let's get this over with and move on. Whereas everybody else will wait till April. So I tell you this because it does matter. Like it does matter. And so a lot of your people are probably like, let's see if we get a tax return. And I'm like, or let's see if we get tax refund. I'm like, what is that? What is a refund? But anyway, so all that being said, it does matter. And so that's why I don't want you guys sitting in a state, and I'm not saying you are, but I don't want y'all to sit in a state of, is this thing going to fill up? It's just a weird time. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's that. Yes. Okay. Are you okay?
And these messages are on my computer and they won't stop.
Oh man. Okay. So yeah, I'm not too worried about that workshop. I think it will come together. Just get to the end of February. And then as weather starts changing, people's attitudes and outlooks start changing. And then we get a little more confident in where our money's going. So just hang tight. I think that's going to go great. So, okay, I'm going to move over to Jayla. And okay, so some things that you said, I definitely love the idea of doing one-on-one mentorships in person, especially for a very niche type of photographer. Like, I love that so much. You also talked about hosting shootouts and workshops, and then like and these are kind of like your big goals, is to eventually be able to travel with your husband and just giving photographers their own client experience within your education side of your business, but teaching them how to give it to their clients. So I love that. So a couple of questions that I have for you is, based on the things that you said to me, what are you wanting to develop over the next 2 months? Like, what if I said, let's focus on one thing and carry it out and bring that to fruition? What would that be for you?
I think so. I am working with Whitney at House of W on a total rebrand and redesign of my website and everything. And so in that, I would like that's going to launch in about April. So I would like in the next like 2 or 3 months to hopefully have a really solid one-on-one mentorship that I'm offering. So that's definitely my goal this year, is to narrow it down. And I don't have all my notes with me, but I have kind of outlined a bit of the one-on-one program. I know I had put in there, like, we would meet up and we would first just have a day where we're going through the client closet. I'm giving them a list of places that are worth investing in, different materials, look in, things like that, so that they're spending their dollars towards things that photograph really well. And then how to style families, and, like what colors, what do's and don'ts, things like that. And then I would like to do that with each other, where we style each other. We go out and do headshots for each other. And then we shoot like a sunset family session together, or maternity, whatever we have lined up. And then I would like to ultimately go to dinner with them after that, like a whole big day. We go to dinner and we edit a few of the pictures together and work on it like that. I am working a little bit on my own presets too. That wasn't something I was thinking about doing, but I started doing it just the other day, and I was like, maybe I'll offer my own presets in that as well. That way, when we're editing together, then I can give them the presets and show them how to tweak it in person.
I love that. Okay, a couple of questions with your one-on-one mentorships. I know you mentioned them being in person, so I have 2 questions for you. The first question is, do you feel like you have enough people? And it's so weird. I'm going to ask you this question and then I'm going to teach you to go against this question. But anyway, do you feel like you have enough interest, enough of a pool of clients where this is something that will be a recurring thing for you? Like, enough people that you think would come see you and sign up to work with you for a one-on-one mentorship?
So that's what I'm a little worried about. I get people on Instagram all the time saying, like, do you offer mentorships? But the idea of anybody actually coming out to Montana to do it, it's not an affordable place to just travel to. Montana is very like high cost of living and zero income. Like, it's so backwards here. And so even like Naomi and them are doing a retreat here this year. And she messaged me and she was like, why did you not tell me how much Airbnbs are there? Like, this is insane. We're not making anything on this retreat. That's Montana for you. So I am a little worried about that aspect, whether people will come here. And I do, because I live in such a small community, I would like it to be, photographers that are like 100 miles out from me.
Okay.
I am one of the only newborn photographers here. So eventually, if I could get into that, that would be kind of nice, especially if I left, to not leave like a hole in the market for that. But the families and maternity is just where I know, like, I just feel like I know what I'm doing. And so that's where I could teach somebody so much more. So yeah, I just don't know how it would go about getting people here.
Okay. So my second question to you, and again, we can dive in and address a lot of your feedback.
We're all froze.
Uh-oh, hold on. Are we good? Am I back?
You're back.
Yes.
Okay, my internet does this every single Zoom call. I am not joking you. It will just freeze for 2 seconds and be like, okay, I'm just kidding. Never mind. Okay. All right. So anyway, all I was saying was I will have feedback. We'll dive into that further. But my second question is like, hey, we're going this way. Now I'm going to ask you this question. Would you ever consider putting together some type of a digital formatted mentorship where a lot of that information, so they're not going to get like this amazing dinner experience like shooting with you, but could you put half of that information, wrap it up in a bow for an online thing? You say yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I already, with what we're doing for the website, I had done that one-on-one mentorship. And then I also did like it was called like Just a Taste. And it's online where I just basically, I send them my wardrobe guide that they can tailor to their own, you know, their style, their branding, send them my client questionnaires, just templates and things like that, that can help them. And then like a 1 hour, either Zoom or phone call where they can just, I'm an open book and they can just ask me any questions.
Perfect. Okay. That's all I need to know for right now. That gets me a good starting point, and we can dive into some of the stuff in just a little bit. Okay. All right. Next up, Amanda. Okay. So for you, tell me a little bit more about this newborn macro situation. What are you hearing? What are you finding out? What are people saying about this?
Just a lot of people simply don't understand how to shoot them. And there's I've seen a lot of people who show macros online and they're lackluster.
I'll take your course.
Yeah. It's something that even when I started 12 years ago, like for some reason I was automatically good at them. And I don't know if it's just because I pay a lot of attention to little details, and like as a mom of so many fertility babies, like those little things there are important to me. I could talk about them forever. Like it's crazy. To me, I can close my eyes and I have a 21-year-old, a 19-year-old, 16-year-old, 14-year-old. I have 7-year-old twins, and I have a 5-year-old who will be 6 this year. I can close my eyes and visualize their faces right now, but I can't close my eyes and visualize what their little lips look like in the light, or, you know, the way they had the little milk blister on their lip or their little toe. Like I can't picture those things anymore because so many years have passed. And to me, those things matter more to me. And so I've always been very heavy into the macros. I have lots of photographers here locally. I don't know if I guess if you're doing online, you're not going to probably limit that and say local photographers can't purchase, but so many of them have emailed me asking me, how do you do this? It just makes no sense to my brain. It's really not that hard, but I think once you see somebody doing it, then it's like, oh, okay, I can figure that out. That's always been the thing I get the most questions about, though, would be the macros.
Okay, I love that. So is it more of like a techie thing? Like people are hung up on the tech of something, or does it go a little bit deeper? Because I can actually relate. I'm the opposite of you. I used to think that I had a photographic memory, but mine is actually photographic memory as in like, I can remember exactly what I was looking at when you told me something. I can remember words. I can't remember what color shirt my daughter wore today. I have no idea. If they were like, what is she wearing? I'd be like, oh, I don't know. But for me, I could remember the last thing she said to me was, right. And so I'm more like memorizing words. All that to say, so my husband and my father-in-law were my husband has a new job now, but they built like immaculate mansion homes in Texas and Oklahoma. And they're so visual. So like when we're remodeling our house, he could walk into the room and literally see it in his mind's eye of like the potential, like what it's going to be. And I'm over here like, I don't get it. I don't see it. You could draw it out on paper and I'm still going to struggle. Like, I don't see what you see. And so I wonder if it's not even like a deeper issue too, like not just techie, but it's just like that. We got to go back to when you're at a newborn session, it's not so much are your settings correct and are you, manipulating your lens correctly, but it's okay, before you ever get there, let's paint the picture, and I think if you can teach it combined with that vision, that purpose, and the tech, you're going to have a phenomenal course, workshop, whatever you want to make. So what's your feedback there? Because that's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah, I think it's more than just settings and where you're standing. I mean, that obviously plays a huge role. And there's people who do macros in different ways. I know a lot of people shoot apertures of like 5 to 8. I shoot 2.8.
Yeah.
And I stack my images in Photoshop. If I'm doing lips, I focus on this part, and I stack them in Photoshop. So they're all beautiful and sharp, but still have that dreamy quality behind them. I don't know that a lot of people do that. They think it's too much work, but it doesn't really take that much work if you're not moving your camera and you're steady. And there's different ways to shoot macros. Some people are teaching that it's only backlit that are beautiful. Backlit macros are gorgeous, but you can shoot different ways too.
Oh, I love this so much. Like my brain is like, doo, we can go 1,000 ways with this. Okay, I love it. Okay, so that solidifies that question for me. I will follow up more with that. Okay, Marina, we are going to talk about, okay, so I want some clarification with you. So I know for you, you are wanting to do basically these one-on-one mentorships, assuming a lot of it could be digital, right? So the question for you is, what did you need the most as a newbie photographer? Like, what were you I'm not desperate in a negative way, but what were you so desperate for to hear? And where does that accountability play in? Like, I want to hear topics of what you think the newbie photographers need in a mentorship.
So, I mean, the biggest one was just support, like someone believing in me and cheering me on. Because I would go to other photographers locally and be like, hey, like, I mean, at that point, I was barely figuring out my camera. Like, no one was hiring me, but I would ask people, like, how did you do your business? And not like, oh, tell me all your secrets, but just like, do you have any tips for me or anything? And automatically, like, they would see me as competition, and it was like, oh, like, who are you to try to get with me, or like, why are you asking me stuff? And so, like, a lot of people would just kind of be like, oh, don't worry, like, you're not there yet, or just not believing in me, or even like just saying that I would not be able to make it. And so I think that is the biggest part. And I have a lot of photographers, like, that are barely starting out, that follow me, that message me because they feel like I'm approachable, and I cheer them on. And I don't mind. Like, at this point, I'm an open book, and it's not like they're asking me, industry secrets either, but it's just that, hey, like, I know you can do that. I've been there, and I believe in you, and I know that you can do it too. So I think that's a big one. The other part of it would just be, I guess, the business side of it, and like knowing how to actually be profitable, which is still, I mean, it wasn't until I did the blueprint that I really solidified that for me. That's why I'm kind of looking at not launching anything super soon either, because I want to make sure that I'm solid in that, which I don't know if I want to teach the business side, because I've never been a numbers person. But just how to be successful at it, and figuring out what you're good at and doing your thing without looking at what everybody else is doing and trying to replicate that. Because for a long time, I thought that I had to do weddings to be successful, or I thought that I had to do everything or else I wouldn't make money. But there was no one to tell me otherwise. So yeah, I feel like there's a lot of ways that it could go, but it's just that, like, I've always wanted to be supportive to other photographers. I get so excited whenever I see new photographers starting out saying, I just got a camera and I'm trying to figure this out, and starting to do model calls and stuff like that. And I guess just because I still remember that part of me that was so excited that didn't have anyone to believe in me at that point. And I want to be able to be there for other people and like guide them so that they don't give up, so that they don't just say, you know what, screw this, I don't want to do it anymore, it's too hard, I don't know what I'm doing. Because I was at that point multiple times through my journey. So
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, you're right. There are 1,000 ways you can go. Some things popped up. I'm not going to share them all with you yet because I want you to sit with it, but I have ideas for you. The other thing I was going to say, and it literally left me. Give me a second. Come back to me because it was, oh, okay. So one thing that I want to address right now, it's just kind of like a question. I'm just curious your opinion on this. One of the things I see is, yes, if we had, hold on, my internet's going crap. Hold on. Okay. Are we good? Are we good? Can y'all hear me? Am I frozen? We're good. Okay. So one thing I was going to say was the photographers that typically need the most help are the beginners. The photographers who are making no money are the beginners. And so one thing, this is going to be, and I know this is going to come up for you. So my question to you is, I definitely think there's a need for this 1000%. And I think we can get creative how we give that advice, right? Like how we are that supportive person. My question to you is, do you think you're going to come up against the fact that they can't afford you? Like they can't hire you because they're not making money. So do we have have you even thought about that question?
Yeah, I have. And I think where I'm seeing it going is like beginners, but not like I just bought a camera yesterday. More like, okay, like I bought a camera, I like it. I really want to do this as a business. I kind of started, people are hiring me, but I don't know if I can leave my full-time job. I don't know if I can really do this and actually be profitable. Like, yeah, I'm spending money on like client closet and I'm, investing back into my business, but I don't really see a return to where it makes sense to keep doing this long term. I'd like so that it's a sustainable business versus just a hobby, I guess.
I love it. Okay. Yeah. So you're kind of going to end up serving a similar person to what I intended the blueprint to be for, but I almost feel like you're serving the client who's at that decision-making process, like right before they would jump into the blueprint. Because what I'm finding is, and this is just an observation. What I'm finding is it's usually photographers that have been DIYing their business for a year, 2, 3, 4 years. Then they jump into the blueprint and then they're like, holy crap, there's a lot of work I need to do. Like, I thought I was making money, but it turns out I wasn't. Look at all this potential. And I feel like you would be serving the client in that in-between season. I want to be in there. But I don't believe in myself enough to get there. I'm still, considering quitting my business altogether because it gets hard. So, okay, good. Okay. So I have ideas and feedback and all that good stuff for everybody. So here's what I want you to do. So let's talk about some homework. Here's what I want you guys to be doing over the next week and a half, 2 weeks, whatever. I really want you to pick. So the first thing is, I need to make notes in my chat box here. Hold on. So homework questions or to-dos. Number 1, I want you guys to really identify the number one thing you want to create and carry out over the next 3 months of this program. So identify the number one thing you want to carry out over this program. So pick one so that we can go all in with that. Number 2 is I want you, once you pick that, you're now going to get in a quiet space anywhere from, I know y'all are all laughing. What's a quiet space? Anyway, you know what I mean? One where you're not like cooking dinner and listening to a podcast and chasing your toddler down the hallway. That's not what I'm saying. I want you to pick just like a half hour at max where you're not doing anything else. You can sit on the couch with your kids running in the background. I do it all the time. And I want you to write out every single question. If we were at coffee, just you and me, you're like, here's this thing I want to do. I want you to write out every question you have about the process, every single one. And you guys might come back and be like, I have 35 questions. Great. That's what I want. I want you guys to write out every question you have about the thing, about the process, all of it. What do you want me to handhold you through? And then the last thing is I want you guys to start figuring out. And so you picked the one thing, or the idea. Like, so for instance, Amanda could say the number one thing that I know I want to do is to teach other newborn photographers how to go into that session with that vision, paying attention to detail, and then how to carry out the tech portion with the macro. Okay, awesome. And then you need to decide what form do I want to show up here? Is it a workshop? Is it a mentorship? Is it an online course? And then I said that was the last question. That's not the last question. So 3 is method of delivering your solution. Okay. So again, is it a course? Is it a mentorship? Is it a workshop? What is it? And then the last question is this. Oh my gosh, y'all, brain freeze. Give me a second. I promise it keeps floating in and out of my brain. Oh Lord. Hold on. I don't know why this is happening to me today. Hold on. It was method, process, questions, and the last one is long form content. Okay, so one of the things I'm going to be teaching you, I'm telling y'all, it's crazy. Okay, so here's the thing. One of the ways that we're kind of working backwards at this point is here's the end goal. Now we're going backwards. So step 1 is actually, how am I going to present myself as an authority in this area? Okay. And so for me, y'all know that's my podcast. That's my long form content. So I need you to decide, am I going to have a podcast? Am I going to start a YouTube channel? Or am I going to have a blog? Now I'm going to tell you my opinion on a blog. Okay. Blogs matter. I don't think they're a good source of a long form content all by themselves. I'm just going to throw that out there. Okay. But if you are like, I'm not doing YouTube and I'm not doing a podcast, well, then blog is your only other option. That's it. That's all you get.
So
Yes.
the definition of a long form content, what is that? So it's like position yourself as
it's positioning yourself as an expert, but it's off social media. So like you can't come to me and say my long form content is Facebook live videos or IGTV. That doesn't count. I can't be on social media. Okay.
I have another question.
Yeah, go.
I feel like everyone and their mom is starting a podcast. Like this is the year of the podcast.
It is.
And
do
you
reason.
You think it's a good reason?
Oh, yes. Okay. So what you guys are going to see is finally people are like, oh, podcasts aren't for nerds. Podcasts are for everybody, right? Like they're like, I had no idea that all of these gems were hidden in a podcast. Podcasting, like from the pandemic to now, they are exploding. Now, that doesn't mean everybody and their mom is doing it. That means I can't. It means you better get in because the boat's leaving and you're not on it, right? I will tell you 1000%, I can teach you. I could have a whole course on how to have a podcast because I've been there.
Please?
Yes, I can. We're going to talk about that. I'm hoping the majority of you will say podcast, but you know what? For some people, so Amanda, you could go either way. Okay. Your newborn photographers and what you're teaching is very visual. It is very visual. So, my initial thing for you would be maybe you do need to do a YouTube channel where you have one weekly video that comes out and you're focusing on one section of a newborn session or one technique or one angle of the camera. And then it all stacks together and it points people towards your paid thing. Okay. For Marina, I was thinking podcast initially because she's in essence a confidence and mindset coach. That's where she's coming. That's what that's what newbie photographers need. They need to be talked out of quitting. That's what they need. And so if she could come give fire once a week on a podcast for those newbie photographers and literally get inside their head and talk about the things that they're struggling with, sold. They're going to be like, Marina's the person for me. So you don't have to decide right now, and I will have an opinion for all of you. So don't worry. So if you're like, I can't wait to hear what Brooke's going to say, we're going to talk about that in the next one. So these are the four things. One more time, I'm going to recap it, and then we'll answer any question you guys have for the last 5 minutes. So number 1 You're going to identify the number one thing you want to carry out over the course of this program. At least the initial, here's what I want to teach. Okay. Number 2 is to write out every question you have about that thing, every question. A lot of you are going to be like, my hand hurts from writing so many questions. And then some of you might be like, I have so many questions, I can feel it, but I can't think of one. That's why we have 2 weeks until we meet again. Okay. Number 3 is method of delivering your solution. Is it a course? Is it a workshop? Is it a mentorship? What capacity? Are you going to offer in person and online? I need to know that. And then the last one is choosing podcast or YouTube channel. Okay. So any questions before we close out for today? This is probably like the hardest homework you'll ever have, because after this step, you're going to be like, I'm so clear. Let's do this. So anything at all, any comments, any feedback? And then y'all don't forget also in the group, talk to each other. Okay. That's your community. Get each other's phone numbers, decide, hey, do y'all want to meet next Friday? Same time, same place. And I will let you guys meet on one of my Zoom channels if you need to. Okay. Otherwise, it's free and you can do whatever you want and hop on someone else's Zoom call. So that's what I have. Any questions?
It's not necessarily a question for you, but the only person I couldn't find on Instagram, it was Jayla. Jayla, what do you have Instagram?
Yeah, it's Jayla, Jaela, B as in boy, photography.
Okay.
And I'm on there all the flipping time.
There you are.
And I'm currently not.
I know.
I'm trying to be obedient in finishing out this social media fast. It's only been a few days and I already like feel happier than I've been in months. So that's great. But I have been working on like, what am I going to talk about when I get back on there? Y'all better be ready. It's so good. So good. Okay. So anyway, there's that. All right, guys. Hopefully this has met your expectations so far in call 1. I literally cannot wait to walk this out over the next several weeks with you guys, because where you are today, you're going to be so much further in April and you're going to be like, look what I did. Look what I did. I always think of that meme of the mom holding the baby and she's like, look what I created, right? That's going to be y'all with your offer. So I'm really excited about it. If you guys have any questions in the meantime, you can either email me or post them in that Facebook group. And then it'll be the same link in 2 weeks, Friday at 11 Central Standard Time. So I'll see you guys then. Have an awesome weekend.
Perfect. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Sorry, I need to grab these questions. Okay, got it.